Starting with you, Rick, you concerned about my Clippers' chemistry?
I feel like I should be worried about it, but I can't be worried about it if Doc Rivers isn't worried about it. And he's clearly not worried about it because he's the guy who's setting the rotation and the lineups and not putting all of the guys out there at the same time. Now, obviously, Montrezl Harrell wasn't there and hasn't been there, so he didn't have an opportunity to do that. But I look at, I'm going to say no by virtue of the fact that it's more to do with what the Lakers are missing. Chemistry was what the Lakers had over the Clippers, and obviously that's fallen off. So by default, I'm less worried about the Clippers' chemistry because it looks better in comparison. And there's some inside elements here that make me feel good about it.
Okay.
Unlike the Lakers, the role players who are getting a chance to play and play bigger roles as a result of Doc not going with his top lineups, for the most part, are delivering. JaMychal Green has been doing more. Ivica Zubac has been doing more. I'm seeing the complementary players step up and give you minutes and give you big numbers, and that's different from the regular season. So I don't know if you're going to count on them. The one exception is Landry Shamet, but I feel like Doc is figuring out who's going to be the best in this bubble and who do I maybe have to put to the side, and it's a period of discovery. I will say this, anytime they felt like, you know what, we really need to step up and make a statement here, they have done it, particularly against the Dallas Mavericks, which is their likely first round opponent. They came together. So much like the regular season, every time I start to think I'd like to see the Clippers get a little consistency and bring it together, they do something that makes a statement that makes me go, you know what? When they play, they can play better than anybody else.
Oh, Rick, you're going to get mad at me because you know every now and then my fan man comes out and I start to get a little scared, start biting these fingernails down.
I know.
And right now I'm a little worried about our chemistry. I'm going to be real. You talk about you're not worried because Doc is not worried. We're three married men. My wife worries because she know I'm not worried. And guess what? She's smart for doing that because I ain't tripping on anything and nothing will get done if you use my mindset. So sometimes it's good for you to worry when someone else isn't. And I'm looking at this situation. We have like 13 dudes. Like literally when you try to set the rotation, it could be paralysis by analysis because everyone is capable. It's almost like you're looking at these guys and you're like, damn. Michael Green, he balling. Everybody balling. What am I going to do if I cut his minutes? He's a 20-minute guy, and I cut him down to 5 minutes in the playoffs. He's going to have visions of grandeur. And if I take that away from him, how is that going to work in this locker room in terms of chemistry? And is that going to be the optimal way for us to go out there and win basketball games? Because we have so many ways to do it. So I'm looking at a situation where I'm a young DJ growing up, and I remember I bought my first little mixer. It was a little 12-channel mixer, and it had 12 buttons, and you treble over here and bass over here, and it was pretty simple to play with. And then you look at Dr. Dre's mixing board, and that's what the Clippers got. Like, it's like 256 channels. You're like, ooh, you better fine-tune this because you can mess this up, and I'm just scared. We got so much, we might not have enough because we don't know how to play it.
Look, I hear you, Marcellus, because you really don't want 12 guys that you can play, and several of them are on the same level, and that is what the Clippers have. But I really think they are so all in on this championship. I think they know that one of their little leaders, Patrick Beverley, is all about winning a championship. Doc Rivers, obviously a veteran voice. Kawhi, Paul George, not really vocal, but they are fixated on a championship. That I got to believe the JaMychal Greens and Patrick Pattersons and guys that might not play as much once everybody is there will buy in and accept that because this is all about a championship ring. And the reason I believe Doc isn't worried is because this has been the case all year. I know that they wanted these 8 games. Kawhi said it going into the bubble. They wanted these 8 games to be where they finally got their full cast of players together and developed some consistency playing together. It didn't happen for various reasons. Montrezl Harrell's family tragedy. Lou Williams leaves the bubble. things like that. And so it didn't happen. But the bright side is whoever they've thrown out there, they've played well throughout the season. When Kawhi would come in the lineup and play 3 out of every 4 games, when they missed him, they were fine. When he was there, they were fine. I think a lot of that's because nobody really over dribbles too much or dominates the ball. Kawhi will dribble it, Lou will dribble it, but not like a lot of the stars in the league. So they have their system. Everyone seems to fit in. Most guys know their role. So I think they're pretty good. I was worried a bit about Morris, Marcus Morris, and Reggie Jackson. But as time has gone on, Morris has shot a little bit less, seemed to understand his role a little bit better, and now he's playing well. Reggie Jackson is going to have to understand, you know, you don't shoot as much, but outside of those little things, I think they'll be fine.